Good morning to you all. First of all, I would like to thank the Faculty of Engineering of University of Ruhuna for giving me this opportunity to conduct this session to young prospective engineers who are about to get graduated now in the coming years and to enter the industry as qualified engineers and support the growth not only in Sri Lanka but across the world. I know that University of Ruhuna is one of the famous faculties for engineering, well reputed. So I consider it as one of my personal honors to be invited. I'd like to thank Mr. Tatsar as well for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to conduct a soft skills session. Despite the technicality of the name of the session, I would like to keep this very basic and very friendly for you all, so that and very intimate for you all, so that you will get something out of this, something out of my career experience, so that you will not fail in your workplace. Once you start working as engineers, soft skills would be one important thing that you would need in order to become successful in your jobs. So let's talk about these soft skills. Let me start with I'd be focusing my speech and the discussion on 9 key soft skills, 9 very important soft skills that you would need in your workplace. Amongst these, the first and foremost skill that I'd like to discuss is a communication skill, because I see that this communication skill is connected to many other areas as well, and something that especially people in a profession like engineering specifically lack. Why I am saying this is, I see that these when people become more technical, when that is a natural process. When a human being becomes more technical, they tend to lose that aspect of I would say softness. It gradually happens because you become more technical, you become more attention to detail driven, you become more focused on the studies. Then this naturally happens. You lose that soft side of your life. But once you start working, may not be in the engineering department, but in other departments, you would see there's a lot of soft aspect into your jobs. There's a lot of soft aspect. One thing is, say when you start working, it's not like your studies. It's not like it's not only about yourself. That's number one. It's about the team that you work with. It's about the team that you interact with, and how well you interact with others, how well you communicate with others, how transparent you are. These are very, very important things or aspects when it comes to work life. I think you need to have a very strong understanding about this aspect, because it's not only about how strong you are as a technical person. Once you start working in a workplace, there is HR department, there is a finance department, and there are many other, maybe marketing department, maybe sales department. Even in a software company, you will find these departments. So you will have to interact with those departments. You will have to communicate with them. Despite your technical strength, if you are not friendly with them, if you are not courteous towards them, if you are not respecting them, because human respect is a basic need of any human. So if you are not a team player, and if you are egoistic, or if you think too much of yourself, then probably you are not going to be very successful in your career. Maybe in the early years you would be successful. Maybe in the early years you would be able to gather momentum in your career with the technical acumen that you have. But after a certain point, after a certain point, if you are not a team player, your career progress will come to a standstill. Now, that is something, I'm giving you an overall aspect on the importance of soft skills first before going to communication skills. So that is something you need to avoid as engineers, because I know for a fact, I have worked with few engineers myself, and I know for a fact how technically strong they are. But at the same time, I have seen how isolated or how individual driven they are as well. So that is an aspect that you need to avoid, because you can think and do this. Definitely you can think and do this. So keep this in mind, because after a certain point, it's not only about the technical acumen that you impart to the organization. It's about how well you interact with people. It's about how well you communicate with people, how well you understand others' problems, how empathetic you are about others' problems. These things start to play a valuable role in your career progress. I'll give you one example. Okay, you work for a construction company. Say you are a civil engineer, and you start working for a construction company. But this this project is being done for a high net worth individual who knows nothing about construction, but he has a lot of money, a mint of money, maybe a peta businessman who has who from outside they don't look like having a lot of money, but they are few of the richest people in Sri Lanka. So you start working, doing a project for someone like that, and if that person knows next to nothing about construction, okay, but you are highly technical and you know your stuff. You are very strong in your knowledge in terms of what are the technicalities behind the construction work that would be undertaken. But if you cannot simplify it, and if you cannot think from that person's angle who knows nothing about construction, if you cannot simplify and communicate with this person, if you cannot cut to the bone and communicate, if you cannot put yourself in his shoes and communicate, then you are going to, it's not him who's going to fail, because he's the one who has a mint of money. He's the one, few of the, maybe he's the rich guy, and he's the one who's throwing money for these projects. But if you cannot come to his level, come to his terms and explain, present, communicate in a transparent and a simplistic manner, now guys, now at that point, I'll guarantee that you are not going to be successful. Because success is not only about the technical skill, believe me or not. It's about understanding the other person. It's about understanding the client's needs. It's about bringing yourself down to that level. You through studies, you might be upscaling yourself. You might be learning a lot of things that even may not be applying in the practical context. But at the end of the day, when it comes to practice, if you cannot bring yourself down to that level and communicate, I think that is not a good thing. So it is important. You need to understand these contexts, especially in the work life. And talking more about communication, it has many different aspects into it. If you are to communicate and impart others on many different things, maybe bringing down these technical matters, technical jargon, and bringing it, simplifying it, you need to be first a good listener. Because if you are able to attentively listen, then only you will be able to understand what the other's situation is, what the other's status is in terms of knowledge, in terms of requirements, in terms of client needs, etc. So you need to, in the first place, you need to ensure that you listen well. Now, I see some technically very strong guys who think that they know everything. Probably they know, as a matter of fact, that, and they are very correct in what they in their line of thought and in their thought leadership. They are very correct. However, if they don't listen, and if they monopolize conversations, and if they try to, like, in a strong way, if they try to uh, uh, inculcate what they know to others but not to listen to others, then again it's a failure. It's not going to be a success, because we all are humans at the end of the day. Despite your technical acumen, maybe despite my technical acumen in finance, as a finance person, I have I have experienced this. To give an example, I have worked for a director board who knows nothing about finance. None of them knows anything about finance. But then I need to first listen to their requirement, use my finance knowledge, mold what I have according to, in a way that they would understand it, and then impart it to them, and then present it to them. So the first part is about listening. I need to listen to them properly to understand it. So guys, in this communication part, I think listening plays a vital role. And then another important aspect that I sadly see many of especially the state sector, I see this a lot. In the state sector, I see many graduates also do not have a strong understanding or strong knowledge in spoken English. So guys, I think spoken English is a very important aspect. Because whatever you know, you should be able to deliver. Maybe not only in Sri Lanka, you might have to do this abroad. Even among engineers, I see this skill is lacking. This skill is not strongly there. So if you are not good in spoken English, then you might not be able to deliver properly and deliver what you know. You have a strong technical skill set, but you will not be able to communicate properly, because at the end of the day, business language even in Sri Lanka is English, right guys? So make sure that you improve your spoken English skill also along with your technical skills, because you build a pillar of knowledge like this. You build a pillar of knowledge, but that pillar of knowledge is marketed. It is to make it marketable, to make sure that you show others that you know these things. You need English, be it a seminar, be it a presentation, be it a conference. You will have to show your knowledge. You will have to market your knowledge, be it to the director board, be it to the senior management, be it to your subordinates in the company. You will have to market your knowledge. You will have to show that you know stuff. So it's not only about building knowledge, it's about marketing knowledge. That's the modern context. So please make sure that from today onwards, you place a lot more importance that you placed before on learning, communicating in spoken English. Because I see that especially Sri Lankan engineering graduates, they have a strong technical skill set, but this English part, I see a lot of deficiency, or I mean they would have gone miles further if they had that as well, miles further, because it is said that even in Asia, Sri Lankan graduates, Sri Lankan human resource is among the best. But we have continuously faced with the problem of marketing, presenting our skill set to others, to the outside world. Now see, even in a cricket match, you would see that, isn't it? I mean, in a post-match presentation, you would see that we are not as strong as maybe the Indian cricketers are in terms of communication. Why? It has an element of primary and secondary education to it. Because in India, even in the smallest schools, the teaching process happens in English medium for common subjects such as science, maths, etc. But in Sri Lanka, even the biggest national schools have only 1 or 2 classes that are conducted in English medium. So then when it comes to this level, when it comes to this graduate level, only you will able to equip yourself with English. Because next level of your life is starting a career. Then at that time, you don't have time to learn English, because that is a basic communication skill that you need to develop during your education process. So please make sure that you enhance that skill, and that you are quite ready with it. It's good spoken English, guys. It's not just being able to speak English, because when you deal with foreigners, good spoken English gives you a huge advantage, gives you a huge competitive edge, right? Then I'll quickly come to a few other communication skills as well, because say sometimes when you go to a workplace, you would have to say small things like maybe how you interact with even the lower level staff, even maybe cleaners, maybe janitors. They would be also working in the same organization. In the organizational culture, it is required that you treat everyone equally. It's required despite your career status, etc. Because in the modern organizational context, you don't differentiate one from another, because everyone is contributing towards the organizational success. So maybe saying a small good morning to them, or maybe greeting them in a friendly way would give a long way. I mean, it's a small thing, but it could bring a big change to your lives in the organization. And also things like presentation skills. That's also a communication skill, because you must be able to present yourself in an attractive manner. The language also plays a key role, but you should be able to present yourself in an attractive manner. That's also another skill that you should develop in order to improve yourself. So these are few areas that I would like to like you to know in terms of the communication skill. But one more thing is, I see this in many organizations, that is there are some people who work in silos. That means they work in their own pillar, or they work in their own sphere without interacting much with others, and that is because they don't communicate. Sometimes even maybe among your university groups, or among your peer groups, you will find that communication is not at a strong level, that you don't communicate a lot about what's happening, what needs to be done. You think you either assume that they know it, or you think that they are expected to know that. But guys, in an organization, 99% of the problems arise because of lack of communication. You think that they know it, but they don't actually know it. So then you start accusing them of not doing something, because they are not doing it because they don't know it. At the end of the day, it hasn't been communicated to them. So transparency in terms of communication, if possible, except for financial and key confidential matters, if possible, you can communicate 100% in a transparent manner. I think 99% of the organization problems will solve. I'm saying this with experience. Lack of communication has given rise to multifarious problems across organizations, guys. So it is a transparent communication is also very important. What you have to say, you need to just put it out. And unless it is confidential, unless it is confidential financial numbers, or confidential business secrets, other than that, I think you can communicate anything else that that is needed for others, and needed for others to know. So that's an important skill that you should develop as well. Moving on, I would discuss with you another important skill, that is problem solving. This is this I have faced with when I was working before with one of the chief executive officers. I learned this in a very hard way, but I'd like you to understand and remember this very well. Once you start working in an organization, you go to your superior, or you go to your maybe CEO. If you are directly reporting to CEO, don't always go with the problem. If you go with the problem always, your CEO will think, why am I employing this guy at the end of the day? Why am I employing him? Okay, he's coming to me and reporting me a problem that there is a maybe say an electrical, I don't know, maybe there's an electricity related breakdown. So if the breakdown is there, you go to your superior and saying there's a breakdown, these are the details of the breakdown, and this is the duration the breakdown will happen. No, guys. I mean, if you are only going with the problem, and if you are only reporting the problem to the superior, you are not adding any value to the organization or to the superior. Superior always expects, or the CEO or the senior manager always expects from you to come with a solution. That's why you are hired. That's why you are employed in the organization. So whenever you go and speak to your superiors in the organization, once you start working, make sure you don't only go with the problem, you go with the problem in one hand and the solution in the other hand, your suggested solution. So your manager will be very much interested in speaking with you about the solution part, because that makes his life easy. That is why he has employed you. Say, for example, you are working for a small business and you are directly dealing with the owner. Then owner would definitely want solutions from you, not problems, not problems. And problems, believe me or not, is a common thing in the commercial sector. Every day you have 101 problems to face. Problems is a part of work life. Coming up with innovative solutions is why you are hired for. So these problem solving skills always need innovation. Innovation plays a major role in it. As I said, you need to be able to, you have these research skills with you, you have these critical thinking skills with you, because those are developed during your graduate program. You are very good in critical, definitely with your technical knowledge, and because that gray matter in the brain is always used in your stream of expertise. So with that, you will definitely be good in critical thinking. You will have to develop your research skills, because research is not a subject that everyone, I don't know whether in your programs everyone has to do a research, but whenever you face with a commercial problem, always go ahead with the research, because research gives the ground level information to the superior, and also reliable information. Research gives reliable information to the superior. Go ahead with the research, do a preliminary research, and go ahead with the outcome. That will give a proper background about the problem than just going by hearsay, or by going with the Chinese whisper, by going by gossips, etc. No, that is not going to provide a foundation for problem solving. You need to go with a proper research. A preliminary research has to be done on a critical problem, and then you need to apply your critical thinking skills and go ahead with the solution rather than a problem. So that being said, now we've discussed two important skills, two important soft skills that would be required in the work life. That is, one being the communication skill, and the next one being the problem solving skill. Now let's step into organizing skill. This is something that you would learn even during your studies. Say, for example, you are into coding, you are into software coding, you will have to organize your code, right? So in a similar way, when you work in an organization also, you will have to do, sometimes you will have to do multitasking. You will have to undertake more than one task at a given time. So in these instances, you will have to definitely manage your work, organize your work. You will have multiple meetings during a day. So you will have to manage your work. Now there are many tools that you can use in order to manage your work. There are software apps, there are mobile apps that you can use to manage your day and to manage your time. etc. So use these apps uh, and organize your day properly. And also, I'll give you a small tip. Now, most of the youngsters, most of the millennials are used to, like, when you wake up early in the morning. I think this is a small thing that I'm going to tell you, but it goes a long way. When you wake up early in the morning, you will take the mobile phone and maybe you might go to Facebook or Twitter or to Instagram, etc. So that has become a habit among many youngsters. But what I would tell you is, the first thing that you need to do every day once you wake up in the morning is to recall what are the activities that you need to undertake within your day. May not be only relating to work, maybe your personal life as well. But first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of your day, please dedicate, without taking the phone to your hand, without taking the mobile phone to your hand, dedicate the first 10 to 15 minutes, a very small time, to recall and to organize in your mind what are the activities that I should be undertaking within the day. That will go a long way. When you do that every day, I think that will help you a lot in terms of organizing not only your office work but also your personal work as well. So think about that aspect as well, and you that will help you to manage your time properly and also accomplish tasks, that preset tasks within the day. When you take the phone to your hand, what you do, you go to Facebook or Twitter, and you will take 101 problems outside your life that you cannot control to your head, and maybe your entire day will end up becoming a mess. And too much smartphone use is also not recommended, because now the research shows in USA that there's a dopamine release from the brain that affects and creates depression when you do it continuously for a long period. So think about this first 5 to 10 minutes of the day. That is extremely important for a successful day, and that will help you to organize your office work and also organize your personal life also. So this organization skill is also a very important soft skill that you need to develop. When you organize tasks, guys, I'll tell you one thing. Whenever you, I think this has to do with problem solving as well as organizing. Whenever you face with something, face with a problem, consider whether that is controllable or not controllable for you. Whether that is under your control, whether you can change that by your actions, or whether you can't change that by your actions. For example, you suddenly receive a mail, or let's take like this. You suddenly hear about the milk powder price increase. Okay, now that is not something that you can control, guys. That is completely outside your control. So don't make it a problem in your lives. Just discard it, because it's not, I mean, you are not the government, you are not even employed at Funtra or somewhere. So that is not a problem that you can control. But there could be problems that you can control, like you receive a mail from one of your suppliers that a shipment would get delayed. So then you will able to communicate with an alternative supplier and get the same cargo done. So that is something that you can control. Now, whenever you face with an issue, in order to organize the solution, remove the uncontrollable part, keep it aside, don't think about it. Always take the controllable questions only to your mind. Don't take the uncontrollable questions to your mind. Keep them aside. Once you take the controllable questions, then the next step is concentrate, concentrate, concentrate. Number 1, concentrate. Number 2, concentrate. Number 3, concentrate. Because you take the controllable questions and then you concentrate, then you will be able to optimally find solutions and organize your stuff properly. Because if you start concentrating about the uncontrollable questions that you face in life, that believe me, students, that will waste a lot of your energy. unknowingly. This happens on a day-to-day basis unknowingly. So ensure that you filter the controllable parts and then concentrate on those controllable issues. And also, another key word in organizing is, I'll tell you this, that is prioritization. Prioritization plays a very important aspect in your work life. When you list tasks that need to be undertaken within a day, prioritize what is the most important task that your manager or the CEO would require to be done. Concentrate all your energy and effort on that task. Don't divert your energy towards other areas, because if you do that, that will again destroy your energy. That will again complicate the set of work that has to be done within a period of time. So prioritize and consider what are the important tasks that need to be done, maybe within the day, within the week, and concentrate your energy fully on those tasks. That is important. Right. Let's come to another important skill, that is leadership skill. Now, students, when you undertake group activities in the graduate program, definitely this skill plays a role. There are many people, there are many students who are backward and who don't want to take the leadership, who don't want to, they will do only their part. They will only contribute to the extent that they are required to. Now, if you do like that, you will make it a habit, and in the future of your life also, you will be doing like that. You will never ever able to become an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurial spirit is that you take the leadership, you do things in your projects as a leader, you delegate, you get the work done from others. This is also an art. This is not a science, but this is an art. It's an important art, believe me or not. Sometimes that skill, not sometimes, most of the times, that skill will go a long way than all the technical skills added together. Because people I have seen very successful financially in my life are not, those are brilliant with their technical skills. Yes, people with technical skills have been successful, but most of them who only have technical skills, I have seen them working for others. Now, those people who are working for those others, these others are the ones who are most successful financially, who employ those people with technical skills. Now, they do not have the level of technical skills as the employees do, but they do employ them. What is the skill they have? They have that entrepreneurial skill. They have that leadership skill. They can get work done from others. That is their personality, a part of the personality trait. Now, guys, very, very important. Huh? I mean, you have the tech. It's good. I'm not saying technical skill is not good, but imagine for a moment, you have this leadership skill with you in addition to the technical skill. You will become magnificent. You will not only brilliant, you will become magnificent. Why miss this soft part of your soft skills part in your life? Because if you, with technical skills, if you have the leadership skill, you know how to get work done from others, you lead you are not working for a project, you are leading the project, you are getting work done from others. Now, that is the leadership role. That person is the most successful person financially. Those are the entrepreneurs, guys, because they know how to get the best out of others. That's an art. It's not an exact science. Personality might play a role there. How your stature is. Sometimes you might have to go to a gym, and if your stature is not that, I mean, pleasant in terms of others are not getting like that impact from you, then you can develop it. In using different tools. There are tools available. You might be able to improve your stature. You might be able to improve your personality. So you use those tools, improve your personality. Sometimes this communication, like in English, spoken English, etc., that will also able to improve your personality. That will give you strength, and that will able to become you as the stronger person in the group, and that will provide you leverage to get work done from others. So there are tools, multiple tools available. It's up to you to decide which tools you are going to improve on and use those tools to become a leader, not a follower, not an employee, not a staff member, but with the technical skill, build those other these leadership skills and other parts, other skills. You will become magnificent. Believe me or not, you will become magnificent. I mean, you guys can do that. I know for a fact you guys can. But I have seen many technically sound people only getting stuck in silos, getting stuck in their own vertical and specializing, dedicating themselves because they have found a passion in their lives, but they're not thinking beyond that box. For a small time, if they think beyond that box and work to improve the other side of the skills, they could become, believe me or not, they will become brilliant. So think about that side as well. And then I'll focus on a couple of more, I think within the limited time, I'll focus on a couple of more skills that you need to develop. I mentioned earlier as well about teamwork, but in communication, I mentioned about teamwork, but here I'm going to repeat about teamwork because teamwork is separately also there. It is an important skill because not everyone can work as a team player. Sometimes what happens is in our graduate programs, in our advanced level studies, we work as individuals for our individual success. We want to score well in the exams, and we only consider about the individual success. We think about our first class, not about others most of the time. So, but when you're put into an organization, despite your individual brilliance, despite you are being the most outstanding person in the organization, will not help the organization's success or your success as well if you don't work in a team. Now you understand how important the teamwork is. You may be the technically best person, but if you are not a team player, your knowledge will go only a certain way, only up to a certain limit. Only if you work with the team, you understand strengths and weaknesses of different members in the team, communicate with the team properly, and help others in the areas they lack, and extract knowledge from those people who have other strengths than you, and create a culture, a learning culture. Create a culture where each other help out and work together. Now that team will able to succeed. So once you start working in an organization, it is important that you step out from the boundaries, the individual boundaries, and work with people as a team for the success of the organization. So think about that aspect as well, as it will go a long way in terms of the organizational success as well as your success. Because if you think I'm technically this strong, the organization should pay me this much, okay, everything is fine, they should pay you, but you're not a team player, your team is going to fail. Definitely. Your team is not performing up to the wire, then you are not getting the reward that is due. If your team performs up to the mark, then you will get the biggest reward that is due. Remember that. Okay. Right. Then I will focus on another, I think with the limited time, I will focus on few more areas. Creativity. How creative you are when you deal with your work, in terms of the tasks given to you, whether you think out of the box and find solutions, whether you introduce new ways of doing things. Now, in order to introduce new ways of doing things, you should be intellectually questioning things about how things are done in an organization. So that is a separate part of intellect that you need to apply, because it is important that you question, you're curious, intellectually you are curious about how things are done in an organization. Then you will learn about the organization really well. Then only you will be able to apply creative solutions to problems. So creativity, the basis of creativity is intellectual curiosity. Intellectual curiosity. You need to be curious, not just curious, not for the Chinese whisper, not for the gossip, but for how things are done in an organization, not only the engineering related matters, guys. Always look into everything. Maybe finance related, maybe operations related, maybe HR related. Be curious. Be curious why things are done. Maybe you should be able to, once you get a contract from the HR, you should be able to review it yourself, including the financial aspect into it, including which taxes are deducted, why those taxes are deducted, etc., etc. These are not rocket science, right? I'm stepping a little aside from this about the intellectual curiosity. So that will help you to learn a lot, because now with Google, knowledge is free. Knowledge is freely available. Maybe about the taxes in your individual work contract. You can learn it by Googling. So the tools are there. It's about how intellectually curious you are to learn. When you are intellectually curious, you will end up within 1 year or 2 years, you will end up learning the whole spectrum of how the organization activities are undertaken. Now, once you know that, you will be able to find better solutions. Sometimes it might be about applying a new section of the enterprise resource planning system, introducing a new section to that, or coding how employee, maybe introducing a new portal for HR related matters on recruitments, layoffs, interviews, etc. So you will be able to introduce new things to the organization when you know about the organization inside out. That comes from intellectual curiosity. So probably within this, I think it is an hour that is allocated to me for the lecture. So I have now discussed many areas with you in terms of soft skills. I tried to give you an overall understanding about soft skills, taking few examples here and there, and try to sort of motivate you in terms of what you can achieve, as what you can aspire. To summarize this before coming to questions and answers, before coming to a short Q&A session, to summarize this, I would like to tell you this. I'd like to highlight and stress on this part, because I see this common factor, especially among technically strong graduates in Sri Lanka. I've been lecturing for a few other institutes as well. So what I see is, you are technically brilliant. That I have seen across the board. I have seen, be it engineering students, be it medical students, you are technically brilliant. But because I'm comparing this with the outside world, not only Sri Lanka, I'm comparing your caliber against maybe Indian graduates, maybe some other graduates in the world, and you are technically brilliant. I'm telling you this. But what you lack is one thing. To put it in plain English, you lack spoken English skill. Most of you. Therefore, you have these in the broader context. Once you start working for an organization outside Sri Lanka, you are good They are taking work from you with your technical skill, but you cannot develop yourself beyond a certain limit because you lack certain other aspects. Then you are not hitting your capacity. You are below capacity. Why should you let that happen for the rest of your life? Don't let that happen. Improve your spoken English. That will give you a lot more value, and also presentation skills improve. Make sure that you're marketing your knowledge properly, because only having knowledge is not enough. You should be able to market knowledge. Then only you will get that due place in the organization you work for. And then start improving your leadership skills. Start rebuilding that personality, so that you are strongly placed in the organization. You are seen as a prospective leader for that organization. Improve on intellectual curiosity. Know about other areas. Don't live in your own silo. Don't live in your own vertical. Don't do that. Use intellectual curiosity to learn about the entire organization spectrum. So so with this, what I'm the summary of what I said is, you are really good technically, you are really good, but then again, you can become brilliant, you can become magnificent. So for that, try to improve those skills. Don't work for the rest of your life under your capacity. Make sure that you optimally work up to your capacity. For that, these soft skills is the only element that bridges the gap. Improve on that. So that's the summarized version of what I got to say on this entire topic. Guys, if there are any questions, I'm ready to take questions, so that only on this area, not on engineering related matters. I'm not a specialist on that. Let's discuss. If there are any questions, the floor is open. Floor is yours. Hello. Right. Maybe silence implies that there are no questions. Dr. Tilina.
Yes, Mr. Janita. So
right.
Thank you very much for the informative session, and I hope the experiences you shared would be useful for the future engineers. Is it okay if I share this recording with other students as well?
Yes, sure. No problem at all, Dr. Tilina. Please.
Okay.
Yeah. That
so thank you. Thank you very much again, and I hope to see you again in future sessions, probably.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you very much, dear students. I hope you got something out of the lecture. Thank you so much. Then, have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.